So welcome. This is Spark Up Your Life practical workshop, part 2. We already covered quite a lot in part 1, and this is part 2. So plan for this one is there's a presentation which is available on my website. You can get it, and the point of this workshop is for people who feel stuck. They want to change something in their life. They don't know what exactly how to do it. And what this workshop is intended to is give you some information, new insights, awareness, and change your perspective by asking questions. So I will be asking you lots of questions, and your task is to be prepared, have some pen, paper, and answer those questions. And the power of questions will be answered in this workshop. So let's start by quickly recapping what we covered in the first part. So first of all, why are you here? What's your goal? What's your intention? And yeah, before you know where you want to go, you want to know why you're here. What's your outcome? What's your purpose? And of course, you're here because you're probably stuck in one area of your life, something you want to be better, nicer. And the question is, how does spark of life look like for you? So the question you want to ask yourself, how does spark of life look like for you? Because we all know what we don't want, what we're stuck with. We really can describe our problems in high detail. However, how much time we spend actually describing what do we want? So the first question is, how does spark of life look like? What do you want? And then second part is you ask yourself where you are and what's stopping you from getting there. And we covered that I provide this presentation with insight for following reasons. First of all, to give you some knowledge, insights, awareness, and just plain value of how to love yourself better. And of course, invite you to continue this kind of discussion, this kind of information in a group setting, which is my offer, Spark Up Your Life program. So if you're interested, let me know, DM, message me, ask any questions, and I will answer them. And first of all, discover if it's something that you are so interested in. So anyway, so the group program is for maximum 12 people for 12 weeks, and doesn't require too much. It's 10 to 20 minutes each week video. I record video like this, and then 60 to 90 minutes group sessions live, and of course daily check-in for accountability. And we started about what's the secret is thoughts become things, and we went through that there are common themes that first of all you need to understand that you can be successful, that there are different paths to success. You have a choice which path you want to take. Easy, slow, fast, challenging. Then we discovered that yes, there will be challenges. However, to overcome this challenge, you will need to know why you actually need to go on this journey. What's your purpose? What you want, and you will need it because there's work you have to do, internal, external. And then we went on a typical path you could choose. Which kind of path you want, you have to make a choice. And then we went into the definition of self-love, which is regard for one's own well-being and happiness. Very simple, regard for one's own well-being and happiness, nothing selfish, just plainly taking care of yourself. And if you want to take care of yourself and you really love helping other people, obviously that means you're not going to be happy if you're not helping people. And other way around, you'll not be able to help people if you're not well taken care of. And that brings you to my motto that self-love is feeling good, and it's sustainable. If you're not able to feel good sustainably, you're not really happy, you're not really loving yourself, because either you're not taking care of yourself or others. And on top of the pyramid, there's self-love, and how to do the self-love. You be present. You manage your stress, notice when there's resistant stress, you deal with it, and try to stay in a flow state as much as possible. And then I ask you, what does self-love mean to you? And how does it reflect in your life? And then we finish the presentation with this really nice, amazing model, which is that self-love can be divided in three categories: physical, emotional, mental. And each of these categories can be divided in very similar three subcategories. In physical, you move, nurture, and rest. In emotional, you express, care, and release. And in mental category, you grow, create, and clear. And now we're starting the part 2 of the workshop, which is what must you do to love yourself more? So obviously, we all love ourselves to some degree. Some of us love ourselves a bit more than others. However, there is no upper limit, so we can always love ourselves more. And no matter how much we develop ourselves, no matter how much we love ourselves, there's always next level. And it's either loving ourselves through taking care of ourselves, or it means expressing or care of ourselves and helping others and keeping things in balance. So when you ask yourself, what must you do to love yourself more? You have to know clear goals. Why clear goals? Well, one of the best ways how to love yourself is to continuously stay in state of flow. And state of flow is quite well studied and clearly understood. So in order to stay in state of flow, you need to have clear goal. So what is your outcome? What is your purpose? Because the flow state is characterized like a single-minded focus. You have to be really focused. And that's how our brain works. It needs something to focus on. Even if you don't give it anything to focus on, obviously it starts creating problems. Problems need solution, and brain goes, I have something to solve. And then there's a clear goal. I need to solve this problem. However, you could create your own problems by setting goals. So what's your clear goal in the context of your outcome? So we start this session by asking you, how does spark of life look like for you? And that could be your goal. Next step is immediate feedback. So once you have a clear goal, or clear enough that you are able to start moving forward, in order to stay in the flow, you need to have some kind of feedback. Obviously, how otherwise you know that you're still on track? You don't. And if you don't, you're not able to stay in flow, because then you either get bored or worried or too relaxed or anxiety. And that's why it's really important to have feedback. You need to measure somehow how on track you are with your goals. And then the next step is the right level of challenge. So there's this really amazing flowchart diagram, and which clearly indicates that your ability to stay in flow is highly dependent on a level of challenge and level of skill. So if you have low level of skill and low challenge, you're just apathic. You just slip into apathy, and there's nothing really exciting. Like there's no challenge, no skill, so it's just boring. Well, it's not really boring, but it's apathy. If you have a bit more skill, but challenge is still low, you kind of get bored. Like, so I have skill, I could do something, because you already have skill. I could do something, but because there's no challenge, like there's nothing to actually do, so you get bored. And I have a really high level of skill, but you still don't have challenge. You just too relaxed. Like, well, I could be doing so many things, but yeah, it's okay. It's okay. There's no challenge. And then, of course, if you have low level of skill and bit of challenge, you might get worried. And if you have lots of challenge and no skill, you get anxiety. And when I say low level of skill and high level of skill and low level of challenge, high level, it's relative. It's relative to what's happening, to the task, to the current moment, your current state. Because when I say low, it's too low. When I say high, it's too high. The next one you want to be, next characteristic of flow state is concentration. And in order to have concentration, you almost always want to get rid of distractions, have a nice environment set up so you're getting encouraged to concentrate. Probably it's not that easy to get in the flow state if you have all kinds of distractions. When you go back to the main question we have asking, what must you do to love yourself more? So, for example, if your task is to get rid of cravings, or really guilt, shame about eating sugary stuff and sweets and all that kind of stuff, obviously one way how to help you out is make sure that you actually don't have those sweets at home, so you don't buy them. So you set up distraction-free environment so you can concentrate on things you actually want to do. And the final step is autotelic experience, which is kind of fancy words. All it actually means is self-rewarding. So when you talk about how can you love yourself more, so idea is to find some activity, something you can do that actually is rewarding on its own. That doesn't seem like a chore. Oh, I have to love myself. So, for example, if you really love going into the bath, it's already rewarding. So you don't need any specific extrinsic outward motivation to actually go to the bath. You just, yeah, I love to go to the bath. Let's go in a bath. And it counts as self-love for you. Other way around, it could be for me, for example, it's hike. I don't really need anyone to tell me, go on a hike, do this, do that. I just go on a hike because I really, really, really enjoy it. So it's self-rewarding. The activity is self-rewarding on its own. So I really feel encouraged. And for me, for example, it's yoga, and not for everyone. Like that's the tricky and kind of funny part of it. And not for everyone, the yoga is immediately self-rewarding practice. So when you ask yourself, what must you do to love yourself more? It's finding ways how to make the process self-rewarding. So that's it. The next step is, how do I know if I'm still on track? And answer to this question is awareness. And there are many, many ways how to get more awareness. And I made this really nice, funny picture, which I have on my slides. Which is basically, well, there's many ways how you can do that. The first one is having that awareness internally. So when you get rid of stress, when you put yourself on high vibe, high frequency, positive emotion, then you obviously have more awareness. And then you're more able to see things on a bigger scale. And on this image I'm sharing here, what basically is depicted is that in order for you to know if you're still on track, first of all, you need to know where you're at and where you're going. Because without these two things, you have no idea if you're still on track. You must always keep in mind your outcome. It's like navigating with Google Maps. So you have your GPS, you know where you are, you know where you want to go, you set the map, outcome, and you navigate the path. And sometimes it happens that GPS signal gets lost and puts you somewhere completely else. And then you obviously don't know if you're still on track because where you think you are is not where you are. So therefore, it's really important to know your outcome. And there's many all kinds of fascinating things. And one really cool way how to get more awareness is hire a coach, ask someone else, someone who is either trained or specialist in the area where you want to get outcome, because these people have much more awareness. They have experience, they have training, they have other people experience combined. So these people can give you high awareness. So other thing is you could ask also friends, some other people. So basically you're searching for a guide, someone who has either been there or you could trust a judgment you trust. Because someone who's, let's say, standing on a tower has more field of view so they can see all the obstacles, the path. And so it's really nice to ask someone for help. And next step is impact on actions. So you want to know how your actions actually impact. So you want to know if the things that you do actually make you closer to your goal. And that's really important because sometimes we can get stuck. We kind of a busy mode. We're doing things, we're busy, or we're not doing the right things. So you want to make sure that you actually actions you take actually lead where you want to be. So you want to do that measuring. And another really interesting thing regarding awareness is how's your thinking like? Are you thinking in realms of possibilities, or you feel like you're stuck? So this is a kind of question you can ask. You can ask yourself, are you looking for possibilities, or you're justifying why you're stuck? I know when you're stuck, it's really easy to say yes, but every time you say but, that means you're trying to justify your feeling stuck. And that's not really looking for possibilities. And that's another reason why look for someone else, a guide who can show you more possibilities. Who knows an example when you have a friend, you go with a friend, all you want to do is actually just complain to the friend, what kind of problem you have, and your friend just ends up giving you 12 different reasons, 12 different solutions, how to solve your problem, and you skillfully are able to justify why these solutions don't work for you. Your friend is coming up with possibilities, and you kind of protecting your stuckness. So be aware of this modality. Therefore, it's really good to choose a good guide. And why I'm saying good guide, because when you go to a friend, it's easy to say, yeah, that friend doesn't really know anything about my problem. So it's easy to say, justify. But when you go to the expert who actually knows his stuff, then it's kind of like, who do I trust more? My stressed mind, which is clearly stuck. You know that from stress. If you haven't ever studied stress management and how brain works under stress, you know that the brain is highly focused, and when you focus on problem, you don't see solution. So then you can question, who do I trust more? Person who has been doing this for years and has experience, or my stressed brain? And then again, raise the awareness. So when you hire a guide, when you have someone who can help you, this guide is kind of like, as I said, someone from the tower. And this is really related to the state of mind. As I start explaining, when you're stressed, you really focus on a problem. And when you're focusing on a problem, which is low vibration, low frequency, then you always see the problems and see more problems. And all you really need, how do you know if you're still on track, is by measuring what's your state of mind. Is it positive or negative? And the more positive you feel, the more likely you can actually trust yourself and trust your judgment. And then, as I said before, who's the guide? Can I trust the guide? Are you the guide? Are you trusting your inner guidance, your intuition, or you're trusting someone else? And do you trust that person's judgment? And why I really love the coaching is because the coach, friend, and someone who's third party has this really amazing capacity to detach from emotion. Me, myself, when I have my problems, it's harder for me to detach from my problems. So whenever I have something blocking me, cravings, whatever the problem is, objections, excuses, it's harder for me to actually see the picture clear because I am attached to my own emotions. So my judgment is not clear. So someone else is who is looking from the side, like, is there a problem? No, there's no problem. So other ones clearly see the solution is this, I'm not accepting. So detachment from emotion is another reason why it's really nice to seek someone else outside of you, to seek for help. And when you seek for help, that person, like whenever you communicate with someone else, there's no two people with exactly the same experience. So every other person will give you slightly different and sometimes completely different perspective of problem. And sometimes it's really useful to see, oh, yeah, and kind of sometimes it's nice to have a formation. Yeah, my view is nicer, and sometimes like that person's view is nicer. So maybe it's good to follow his guidance. And then again, we're coming back to the how do you know if you're still on track is mindfulness and self-love. And what I mean by that is observe your thoughts. Thoughts create emotions, and emotions create actions. We all have heard this example that we don't buy rationally, we buy emotionally and then rationalize the decision. So most of our behavior here is whatever we choose in this world, most of it is emotional. And quite recent example was that Coke doesn't really sell a sugary drink. What they sell is happiness. So think about it. When you buy Coke or any sugary drink, you're not really buying sugary drink, you buy happiness. And that's the thing. You don't really buy the stuff, the substance. You buy emotion, you buy the experience, how it makes you feel. And when you work on mindfulness, you're able to observe your thoughts, you're able to see the link, how it affects your emotions, and then you see how it affects your actions. So the state you are, nicer actions you take, because you make nicer decisions from your thoughts, because you feel better. That's a good way of how to know you're still track. If you like your thoughts, I like my thoughts. So more likely to have a nice advice to yourself. And then I really wanted to have this really nice diagram. For those of you who not see the diagram, it's like when you are in a low frequency, low awareness, you have this imagination, imagine world wild. You have this like, I'm here right now, and I have this gap between where I am right now and where I want to be, and it's full of challenges I cannot overcome. And somehow magically, I need to appear on the other side of this gap, like a cliff. I need to jump. It's like 7, 20, 100 meters, and I have to somehow get over this other side. And there's so much challenge, it's impossible to get there. And then when I get to the other side, it's such a narrow piece, and I cannot not able to even stand on this ledge, or I'm squished between two pieces of paper, like cannot really hold my space, like it's too narrow, it's like a cave there, like I'm stuck in there. It's like it's not even worth going through trouble to get what I want. So basically, in a low state, you have this excuse why it's a really bad idea to try to even get there. However, the actuality is that it's not like that. It's like having that small, really difficult first step. You start doing your first step, and as you keep on doing, the moment when you see this, oh, I know one next step. It's a hard one, but I know the next step. So you always feel the guidance, you always know the next step. And reality is always better than you imagine, especially for low vibration state. And that's why really flow state is really nice, because when you flow, you feel really good. And when you feel really good, you know, have that much more awareness. And I really love this example from electronics. I found this really nice, amazing chart, which is basically electron band. So there's like valence band, conduction band, and there's a band gap. And electrons, they have these certain quantified levels they can actually occupy. And with each of these bands, they have specified levels they can occupy if it's available. And then there's this gap between, and the electron needs to kind of like jump this gap. And the only way how he can jump this gap, if he receives enough energy, then it has energy just magically appear on the other end. And that's exactly what we must do. For us to make that leap of faith, to do the action, we need to magically appear on the other side of the challenge. We need to have more energy. Energy is the most feeling good vibration frequency. So how do you feel? And just keep on feeling good, and there's more likely, more chance that you actually do the things you need to do to get what you want. And another thing is to really, when we talk about flow, flow is defined, as I said, this balance between challenge and skill. It's really important for you to remember that everything is skill. Like literally everything in this world is a skill. Like eating with the chopsticks is a skill. Falling in love is a skill. Keeping yourself in a state of flow is a skill. Getting into the state of flow is a skill. Understanding what flow means is a skill. And you need to read the books, and feeling good is a skill. Awareness is a skill. So whatever you think is your problem, it's a skill. And it has certain requirements how to acquire the skill. However, the good news is you can acquire any skill you want and master any skill you want. And if you have this growth mindset, wait, I can actually do anything. Given the time, given the preparation, given the conditions I have, everything, I can actually master and acquire any skill in the world. Granted, I'm going to be able to acquire all the skills. However, I can acquire certain skills in certain amount of time. And then there's really awesome quote, which is, the cave you fear to enter, hold the treasure you seek. And that's exactly it. Like you have this vision, you have this goal, desire. We talked about in the beginning. Where do you want to be? What do you want? And there's always some kind of fear, challenge, obstacle. It's not in the beginning, at some point appears. That's that gap. And it's like, but that's the thing you need to face, that you need to conquer, because what you want is another side. And it's not as far as you think it is. So try to keep yourself on a track. And how will you be? The next question is, how will you stay on track? Okay, you know that you need to stay in the flow state, you need to keep feeling good. That's awesome. But like, how do you actually do it? Okay, it's a skill. We know this is a skill, but how do you actually do it? Like, And really simple answer to that is stress management. Like stress management is so general, like it's anxiety, depression, overwhelm, or burnout, whatever. Like everything goes back to the stress management. It helps you prevent it, but also helps you to get out of this. And that's the beauty. No one actually, people who are stressed, the last thing they want to do is search on how do I manage my stress. All the answers are out there. It's very simple. Everyone knows what to do. Or when you're stressed, you kind of like don't really want to get out of stress. That's why it's really important to make these commitments beforehand. You said, okay, these are things I'm going to do, make a plan, and do the things you need to do. And how will you stay on track is just that, do the things that reduce your stress. First of all, you need to be awareness. Am I stressed? Am I not? Check in, take a couple of moments. And then once you know if you're stressed or not, you can actually do it about it. And don't drag it behind. And another thing how will you stay on track? I have this really nice emotional spiral diagram. Like how I see when we're talking about awareness before, we all have this emotional bandwidth, which is like energy bandwidth, and it's kind of our comfort zone. Like whenever you're feeling, let's say, happy in this middle, there's certain frequencies, certain emotions above, which like feels like, yeah, I could actually feel in love. I can actually feel love. I can actually feel gratitude. So these emotions feel accessible and easy. And then a low, like I can actually feel numb. Actually, yeah, it's I can imagine myself being like, I'm happy, but what after, like not a big deal. Like there's certain frequencies, certain emotions that are like comfortable. But there's other emotions that are completely out of the bag. So for example, when you're happy, you're for you to start suddenly feeling jealous, it's like, no, I cannot imagine. It's like, why? Like it's completely out of your comfort zone. It's completely out of your emotional bandwidth. So we all have different emotional bandwidth, and there's always something that is completely out. And why I'm mentioning is that when you're feeling really low, when you're feeling like really like negative self-talk, when you're blaming yourself, when you feel like not being enough, or you feel like a failure, there's certain emotions that are in this bandwidth. So if you're going from feeling like a failure, you're trying to, everyone says I need to practice gratitude, like I need to feel the sense of gratitude. And sorry, it might be that gratitude is not on your emotional bandwidth. So if you try to aim for gratitude, it's more likely that you're not going to hit gratitude. You're not going to be able to imagine gratitude. And this might be disencouraging. And therefore, you might actually not do anything. So therefore, sometimes it's really awesome to say, instead of when I'm feeling like a failure, instead of aiming for gratitude, so, okay, I'm not really aiming for gratitude. I'm just getting like a bit of appreciation, maybe just being numb, like maybe just not feeling like a failure. I don't know how it feels like, but it's not feeling like a failure. Maybe slightly pissed off, maybe just feeling just bored. So you always there's something a bit more. So that's something to keep an eye out. Like we have this emotional bandwidth, and sometimes we set too high standards for us. So therefore, it's really nice to keep awareness where we are. There's always going to be resistance. So when you're feeling like failure, if someone says, just feel grateful, and it's like, grateful? You don't want to be grateful. Like there's this internal resistance. I don't want to be grateful. I want to feel my failure. I want to feel like misery. I want to feel this misery. Like, don't take my misery away from me. So there's the resistance. Be mindful, be aware that you resist, and do the good things for yourself anyway. That's self-love. So wait, in order for me to start feeling slightly remotely towards gratitude, I need to do journaling, I need to do physical exercise, I need to do the breath work, meditations, whatever is that thing. Maybe you need to go for a shower and bath, whatever the thing is for you, you'll feel like, I don't want to do that. There's resistance, and you need to do it anyway, because you know that's a good thing to do. And what you want to do is moving up. And as you move up, you have more awareness, your emotional bandwidth kind of slides up. And another thing I really want to drill down and kind of really explain is the high stress. When you're really high on stress, you're really highly focused. That's really amazing thing, because when you want to solve a problem, when you want to have a specific solution, you really don't want to get distracted. You really need, when you have a specific danger. Let's say a lion chasing you is a really cliche example from ancient caveman times. Stress was a predator chasing you. Maybe your tribe, the warring tribe, is trying to hunt you down. You really need to be focused. You really know where to go, where's the enemy, where all enemies are. Kind of have to be narrow focused. It's to say, but you don't really need that high awareness. You only need to know I need to run or I need to fight. There is enemy, and I need to either kill that enemy or I need to avoid that enemy, go a different direction, and it's highly focused. And that's how brain works. When stressed, it's highly focused. And usually when stressed, you get stressed because you focus too much on negative. And by default, you end up going down negative spiral and you end up looking at the negative by default, highly focused on negative. What you really need is just look other direction, look behind you. And when you're stressed, you also are not creative. Yes, you might think I'm still kind of doing stuff, I'm still functioning. Yes, you are functioning, your brain is functioning like half capacity, maybe even less. However, there's a couple of things you need to know is you don't really notice how much your performance has gone down. There's this really amazing stories you have heard of when you have like a stroke or something like something happens to your brain, half of your body could be paralyzed. You could be walking, you can be dragging your half of your body on the street until someone brings your awareness. Your brain will tune it out. You will not know if there's a pain, there's this numbness. Your half of your face going completely blank, and you're talking, you feel like normal, everything's normal. But half of your face is just literally not moving, you're not aware when you're stressed. So that's how it works. So I'm saying that because when you're stressed, you don't notice this. So you don't notice that you're not creative. You're not able to create new solutions. Yes, you're able to function on your past experience. But if there's something new happening, you're not able to create new solutions under the stress. So that's really important to get yourself out of stress, to raise awareness, raise productivity, and be more proactive with your time. As I said, when you're under stress, your brain is not as resourceful as you think it is. Because what happens, the blood flow from the brain gets redirected to survival part of the brain. You don't really need to rationalize anything, you need critical thinking. All these things kind of 50, 20, 1% capacity of actually. And the really, really frustrating part about this, you person being under stress, you probably will not know that you're actually losing resources. Like, no, I'm still fine. I'm still fine. That's why it's really important to practice stress management regularly, especially when you don't feel stressed, and measure regularly. And another thing is really how you stay on track if you actually get rid of that chronic stress and take care of your health. Health is really important. So therefore, you really need to do those self-care acts. And there are some guidance like sleep well, eat well. And what thing I really love is these smart gadgets. I have this really cheap bracelet which measures my heartbeat, counts my step, and tracks my sleep. Three really important things. It knows if I moved enough. So if I walk, the walking actually, by the way, extra tip for you. Walking is the best weight loss exercise ever. You need to walk, depending on your diets and regime and other things you do, the stress levels. So it's probably like 10,000, 8,000 steps a day. If you do that, you're actually doing a lot more than some once in a while hardcore exercises. So this one counts my steps. So if I know if I walked, for example, I'm doing yoga at least an hour and a half every day, no kind of other activities. So, and this is kind of like also quite not so sensitive. So my personal goal is at least 3,000 steps. There's no excuse like that's like a bare minimum. Like if I've been like couch potato the whole day, I know before I go to sleep, I need to have at least 3,000 steps. It's almost nothing. It's like half an hour of walk. Half an hour is nothing. Everyone can do that. And if you don't have any physical activities like yoga, some small workouts, stretchings, if you don't have that, I recommend you to go at least 6,000, 8,000 steps a day. And that means it's basically if 3,000 steps is half an hour, 6,000 for most people is like 1 hour walk. And everyone can walk one hour a day. So I really recommend these kind of gadgets. Most smartphones actually these days also are able to count these things. So take track of how much you sleep, how much you walk, and what your heart rate and other things. And the mindset you want to have is fitness and prevention. So you don't want to wait till you get problems and you really feel stressed out. No, actually, you want to. There's this really nice question. When do you want to kill Godzilla? When it's small. You don't want to wait till it's getting really, really big, because then it's harder. It's the same thing with emotions and stress. Final time when I ask you the question, how will you stay on track, is stress management. And next slide is, what do you want? What do you want? And answer to this is gratitude. So you want to be practicing gratitude. And this is the one thing that I really, really, really like, is the play of words. When you strip down the word gratitude, it's grateful, full of greatness, and that leads to great life. So that's the key. Great life comes from life full of greatness and gratitude. So great. And the feeling is the key. For manifestation, if you ever have studied any manifestation, you know that feeling is the key. It also is the same epigenetics. If you have studied this field of epigenetics, you know that your cells, your organs, they don't really know what's happening. They don't have a signal. The only thing they know is how you feel by the hormones, neurotransmitters. So as far as your liver, lung, your cell in the gallbladder, as far as they're concerned, either there's stress or happiness or specific feelings. They don't really know if it's real or imaginary. So therefore, your responsibility is to feel as good as possible. And the baseline, the best place to start with creating really good feelings is feeling grateful. And for a long time, for me, it's like grateful. What does it mean to be grateful? And then you kind of step a bit back. And the word appreciation for me makes much more sense. Appreciation, as simple. So you find something you can appreciate, something that feels like, yeah, this is a nice thing in my life. And when you start practicing gratitude, you actually need, like, what do you want? What do you want? And you want to start small. Because, as I said, from this emotional spiral, emotional bandwidth, it's not always easy to get to this like huge, right? Oh, I'm in such a bliss. I had this amazing experience yesterday. It's not always the case. So start small. Start small towards leading yourself towards something that you can call gratitude. It isn't gratitude today. Okay, it's small appreciation. And as you just go on this journey of gratitude, keep in mind, where is your mind focused on? So you really want to be mindful. Are you focusing on what you have or what you don't have? This is really, really, really important distinction. Because whenever you focus on what you don't have, you don't have control of it. Like, it's something external, something you can't control, and that tends to lead to negative spiral. You don't have. Or if you focus on what you have, wait, what I have, that leads to gratitude. It's that much more easy to have a good feeling, like gratitude when you focus. Yeah, I have actually quite decent health, or I have opportunity to go out for walks. I have this nice neighborhood. It's safe. I can go for walks. And second thing, you want to be, when you try to practice gratitude, you want to be mindful. Can you control it or you cannot control it? For example, thing you can control is your behavior. Like, thing I can control is how long I talk in this presentation. I can control how do I show up, what kind of shirt I'm wearing. I can control how I'm feeling. Thing I cannot control is how other people are feeling. I can control my actions, my attitude toward other people. I can control that, or I cannot control how they perceive me. So when I start blaming myself for things I don't have or don't have control over, it's a kind of a lose-lose scenario, because you don't have power over that. So when you focus on taking back control, you want to focus on what you have and what you can have control over. Because if you don't have control, might as well let it go, because nothing you can do about it. It's not in your power. So another thing that people usually mess up in their mind is that they think the mind is personal. No, mind is like a computer. It's not a person. Yes, you have loads of personalities within your mind. However, your mind has infinite personalities, and these personalities don't really don't take like, how do I explain? Yes, you have personalities, but those personalities are not you. You have this device called mind, which can control. It's like a mind is like a room where you have full of like a party full of people. So, and you can choose which people you invite. You can choose what people you let in and what people let out. When someone starts misbehaving, you said, "This is my house. This is my party. This is my mind. You go out." That's what people usually mess up. Because I think, well, but because I have this thought, that's my thought. I need to protect it. No, it's your house. You get to choose which people you invite to your party. So your mind is like a room, like a container, like a computer. And because it's computer, you can program, you can, like, when you say program, it's basically what kind of program I put in, what kind of outcomes I want. The same as like in a party example, you have a choice. What kind of people I invite? What kind of intention that I put in? How I actually decided who do you want to invite? You just like said, everyone is invited, no intention. Like, okay, everyone that comes. And then you have to deal with who came. And you can, so basically there's no mindfulness. And how do you take charge of who do you invite, who do you, what do you program, what do you put into the mind? Is by asking questions. That's why this workshop is so powerful, because ask your questions. What do you want? The more you ask this question, more likely you have an answer. And as you ask questions, you have power to ask questions. So whatever you feel right now, you can guide yourself towards gratitude just by asking really awesome questions. For example, okay, what do I feel now? Well, I feel a bit tired right now. What else do I feel? Okay, there's a bit tiredness, but I also feel a bit of excitement having the relation. Oh, so I can have a bit of excitement as well. What else do I feel? And you, by seeing the answer you like and what you don't like, you can actually cherry pick which answers you want. And if you know where you're going, it's easier. Let's say, okay, this answer doesn't really lead me towards this direction. I'm choosing different questions. So you can be cheeky, you can be sneaky, and you can guide yourself with asking questions. For example, I have done lots of tarot readings, and yes, there are stupid questions. And the stupidest question is the question you don't ask. So the stupidest question you can ask is, stupidest question is the one you don't ask. Okay, so that's the really stupid baseline. But there's also like really silly questions you don't really ask yourself is, will I get married? And when you look at a coaching perspective, this is really a stupid question in the sense like, it's not empowering, it's not in your control. Like this question says like, it says, I'm not in control, will I get married? The question is, you want to ask, do I want to get married? Like, because when you ask the question, will I get married? It's like you give the power away. Like I have no control of the fact, will I get married or not? So there's literally no way I can control it. Like it's something I don't have. Like I don't have a choice. And when you have a question, different question, like, do I want to get married? Who do I want to be married? These are really good questions because this is something you can control. Because you can make it yourself. You can make your mind up. Do I really want to be married? Is that something for me? Yes or no? Maybe. So second thing you can control is your attention. So you ask a question and then you have an answer. And usually there's no answer. You have like 3 different answers. It's like possible answers. Like let's say, do I want to marry? So there's usually like, yes, I want to marry because there's a list. You can make a list if you're rational thinking like I am. And then there's a maybe, and it's like, yeah, there's kind of like good stuff there and bad stuff no there. And then you have, no, I don't want to get married. Then you can make a list. Why do you want to get married? And then once you have these things, you have a choice. Where do you put attention? Do you put attention maybe? So you're basically not making any kind of decision whatsoever. It's like, maybe. Who knows? Good, bad, who knows? Or you put attention. I actually like that part of the list that says that I don't have to worry to make new relationships. I don't have to worry to have someone who supports me. I don't have to find someone who loves me. All these kind of problems, they just disappear because you're married. You have found someone you really, really, truly love, and you've committed. You've not whatever the bad times you're going to. You know, like I always have someone to support, and someone supports me. There's someone like always someone I can talk to. So I really like that part. So you kind of can dismiss, not really dismiss, like just like maybe I just don't care about the no part, because the beauty of it is that ask and you receive. So whatever you ask, you get more of. So if you kind of focus, put your attention on no side of why shouldn't I get married, it's more likely that you find more and more excuses, because more time you spend on the side, you're more like, yeah, because I don't know that was like, and then more like, more you will find reasons and excuses. And some point you just like start generating excuses why it's a really bad idea to get married. And same thing when you start focusing on the good side, you'll find so many excuses why it's really brilliant idea to get married. And the third one thing you can really control is the meaning. So the fact of getting married, or I'm just continue with the example, has no meaning whatsoever. Like it's not good to be married, it's not bad to be married. There are people who not married live happily ever after. And there are people who married and have miserable lives, not way wrong. There are people who are married and have beautiful lives. So the fact of getting married has no meaning whatsoever. It's, for some of you, can be really hard to understand, but literally, the marriage itself, the ritual, has no emotional attachment whatsoever until you put a meaning to it. And you have choice what kind of meaning you want to attach. Like, for example, I have this workshop, and it might feel like it's sad that no one shows up to this workshop. Like, for example, I had this first workshop and no one showed up. Literally, I was talking just to myself. And for the first hour, I made a conscious choice. I kind of want to experience this sadness, rejection, and all these things and see where it leads me. And I stayed there for a while because I attached to meaning, but meaning that if no one shows up, that means I get rejected, and that means I get to be sad. And that was a choice because I attached this meaning. Or I can attach completely different meaning. No one showed up because I didn't do enough to announce this event, or I wasn't, I didn't do the right thing. I haven't discovered. So maybe there's some other thing I need to do. So that's the meaning. And if I have this meaning that, oh, there's something else I can do. So that's not really a rejection. It's just because I actually haven't spoken to the right people. By this, you kind of says, yeah, because no one showed up, it means that there's something improve. If you, oh, there's something I can improve, you get happy. So you see, no one shows up, you can get happy. Yes, I get to try new techniques, to strategies. I'm like, no one showed up, it means I'm horrible. Anyway, so you have control over what you want. And the next question you can ask is, how will you make it stick? And for you to make it stick, you need to develop habits, routines. You need to have some kind of structure. And the best way how to create habits or adapt new habits is replace habits or habit stack. And there's a really actually a science how to acquire habit. And the first thing, you need to have a cue. I remember when it was quarantine, I had this really amazing habit. Whenever I felt like I need to go to the bathroom, I would do handstand push-ups. Like just one, just at least one. All I need to do is stand against the wall and do at least one push-up. And that was the cue. I want to go to the bathroom, and I have this commitment, either before or after. And most of the time, I was too lazy to wash my hands twice, after the bathroom and after putting my hands on the ground. So I was like, okay, I'd rather do it before. So I had this cue. Going to the bathroom means I have to do push-ups. And that's the cue. And the cue has to be really, really obvious. It's like something that it's a no-brainer. Like, I see my shoes, I need to take them off and go for a run. And it's not like I need to go, like for example, I need to go open up my closet, see the shoes, lift up the backpack, open up the backpack and see the shoes in there. If it's not obvious, it's unlikely you're gonna stick to the habit. So the cue has to be as obvious as possible and something really clear. And second thing, you have to have some kind of craving. So you need to make it attractive. For me, the attractiveness for making those handstand push-ups was, oh, I will have more shoulders stronger, so I have my handstands better. So I just will have this sense of self-worth and just like feeling about myself. Oh, I can do something more. So it was attractive for me. I was imagining I will be doing handstands for longer. I will be able to hold 1 minute handstand. So it was attractive. And you need to have some kind of response. So you need to make it easy. So for me, it was easy. So I started walking towards my bathroom. As I walked, there was this doorway which I can lean on put my hands on the ground, lean to the doorway, and just do it. So it has to be easy. And it's not, it needs to be something easy to do. So for me, it was, for me to make it easy, it was just 1 push-up in the beginning, because beginning my shoulders are weak, so I'm not able to do a full, like I'm not able to do 10. I was like, oh, I would love to do 10, but I'm not able to do 10 in the beginning, so it has to be easy. So, okay, I need to do at least once, and over time I say, okay, I negotiate myself up. I have to do at least 3. And in the beginning it was like 3 halfway, so it's like, I need to just 3 pumps halfway. And that was enough. So it was easy. So it was like literally no excuse for me to say no, because like I can do the 1 push-up every time, like every time I go. It's like it doesn't put any strain on I do it easy. So it's like it makes it almost impossible to find excuses on doing it. And third of all, the fourth, the final one is it needs to be satisfying. It needs to be rewarding. And what I was doing for myself, I was just smiling. I was like really get like a high level hack, like because I know every time I smile, I release happy chemicals in my body, dopamine, serotonin, all these things, really good stuff. And because I release them, I make it for my body to make it easy to want it. So my word was just smile. So I was like remembering, I'm just smiling when I was imagining all the fun stuff I can do. And you still want, when you create habits, you still want to make sure that you have this a clear picture. Your thoughts create emotions, and emotions lead to actions. You want to really know this dynamics. You also want to be aware of your comfort zone and fear. Yes, you will need to get over your fear. So there are many days when I really didn't want to do those push-ups. And for me, I was fearing I eating too much, I'm too heavy, my shoulders may get damaged, all this fear. But then again, I realized that it's not true. So I was rationalizing my fear and said, oh, but that fear is not true. So it was easier for me to go on. And another thing that really helps you to build habits, or actually destroy your habits, because you can always see from 2 points here. So when you want to achieve a goal and you want to make something stick, because the question, how will you make it stick? The developing habit, you can either destroy the old habit or you create a new one. But the best thing is you see, this is not serving, and I want to do this. You just replace. So instead of the old one, you crush the old one, the new one. And in order to do that, beliefs play a really huge role. So if you believe that you're not able to do handstand push-ups ever because of whatever the reason, you're unlikely to actually attempt doing them. So like, what's the point? I'm not going to be able to do it. And that's a belief. Anyone is able to train them up themselves to achieve goal. Like literally everything is possible under certain circumstances and conditions. So you have to be really careful. Are your beliefs allowing and encouraging you? And the second thing is meta beliefs. And what I mean by meta beliefs is, okay, a really good example is what do I believe about creating new beliefs? So my belief is I am able to work myself up from 3 handstand push-ups to 10. So that was my belief. I really believe that based on my past experience, my physiology and everything else, I really believe if I put enough effort, I can get up to 10 handstand push-ups over time. And if I don't practice, obviously I can lose them. That's also on the table, but my belief is I can do that. And meta belief would be like, I believe that I can make myself believe that I actually can make even 50. So even right now it feels like impossible. I can make myself believe that yeah, I can make myself believe at some point. Or meta belief could be, I really enjoy doing these push-ups. Meta belief, something that helps you to create other beliefs. And another thing that can make a dent in you to stick into your habits is identity. As Tony Robbins says, the strongest force you have in your personality is sticking to your identity. And if you say, I'm not a handstander, or I'm not a vegan, if you say, I'm not a healthy person, or I'm not a smoker, whatever you attach yourself, I am, that's your identity. And as long as you hold yourself to this identity, I'm not a smoker, it's really hard someone to convince you to smoke, because you say, I'm a smoker. Like, literally, I'm not a smoker. Like, you can give me as many cigarettes you want, I will not smoke any of them. You can ask me as many times you want, I'm not a smoker. It's really clear, my identity is clear. However, sometimes identity can be really limiting, and you might need to shift it. So in order to adapt habits, if you really want to make it easy, work on your identity. And as I said, stacking or replacing. So how I started doing my handstand push-ups was I already had a habit or a cue going to the bathroom. So instead of just going to the bathroom, I said, oh, I add one more thing. I just do 3 push-ups and then I go to the bathroom. And then again, you want to know the gap between what we want to do and what we're doing. So you want to always be aware, like where you are, where you want to go, and what's the gap to fill. So you want to make sure, maybe sometimes you get to have small habits incrementally. So that's about it. Be aware of your thoughts, the story you tell, meaning your sign. Your story will create a feeling. Your feeling will drive you to action. Consistent action will create your habits, automatic action, and your habits will create your identity. And you can interrupt this pattern, but this is the cycle. And your identity will create the thoughts you put on the thing, and that's how you make your results stick. You create a new identity by sticking your habits. So that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed, and wish you a magical day. See you on the next one.